In this video, I'm going to show you how to make a really simple avatar using some very basic tools in Illustrator. This is something that even a beginner can do. So simple, in fact, that you could even make an avatar that looks just like you. Here we go. All right, what I love about this tutorial is that it's perfect for beginners. You can create these avatars using really simple shapes. So let's get started. The first thing I'm going to do, have Illustrator open. I'm going to create a new document. I generally like to use 1920 by 1080 pixels. You could use print size. It really doesn't matter. I just like to have a big area to work in, and that just seems to be my default these days. So 1920 pixels by 1080 pixels. And I'm going to click on create. All right, I'm going to turn the grid on. We're not going to click on snap to grid just yet, but I want to show the grid just to have it out here, just to give us a general sense of how big we're going to be working. And there will be opportunities for us to turn it on later on when we need to line things up perfectly. So let's zoom in on a kind of a 2x2 area, something like that is great. And we're going to start off by creating a rectangle, and this is going to become the head of our avatar. And for this, I'm just going to click on the screen because I want this to be very specific size for us to work with. So 72 pixels, which actually it translates into 1 inch by 126 pixels. And we're going to click on OK. And what I want to do now is I want to round off all the corners of this so it's perfectly round at the top and the bottom. And you'll notice that while this is selected, we have all these little circles on each corner. And that indicates corner control. So you can see that as I hover over it, my cursor kind of changes and my cursor has this little rounded thing next to it. So what I'm going to do is just going to pull on one of these and drag it all the way to the center until the top and the bottom turn red. And what that means is that's the maximum radius that this can be. The next thing I'm going to do is go to my ellipse tool. I can also type L on the keyboard. I'm going to click on the screen and I want an ellipse to be 100 pixels by 100 pixels. And I'm going to click on OK. Now I also want to send this to the back. So go to the Object menu, Arrange, and send that to the back. And what the next thing that I want to do is I want to take these two objects and align them along the center. So what I'm going to do is select both. I have to go to my Align window. So go to the Window menu and click on Align. And we want to align the horizontal centers. And then using your mouse or your arrow keys, you just want to move this up so there's more or less an equal amount of space between the circle and the rectangle. Now we're going to create another ellipse or another circle. We're going to click on the screen. This one is going to be 82 by 82. This is going to serve as more or less the part and the bangs for the hair. And I generally like to try to align the center of this circle with kind of the top of the head. So you can see it's just about there, and that's fine. And again, depending on kind of your taste, you can change it the way you want. Different hairstyle, it's completely up to you. The next thing we need to do is open up the Pathfinder panel. So go to the Window menu and click on Pathfinder. And we're going to use the Pathfinder to divide these three shapes up so then we can reconstruct it and make hair and the face. So we're going to take the black arrow, select all three objects. In the Pathfinder panel, we're going to divide this up. By dividing it, it makes individual shapes where everything overlapped. But it also groups it together. So we need to go to the Object menu and ungroup. And now we can begin working on our face. We're going to, and the hair. So we're going to start off by deleting this top piece. And we're going to select the left-hand side of the hair, the top and the right, as well as the bangs. And we're going to then unite that together. Then we're going to take the face, these two parts here, and we're also going to unite them together as well. So now you have the hair and you have the face. Pretty good so far. All right, now we need to make some facial features. The next thing we're going to do is take the rectangle tool. We're going to create the nose, and we'll click on the screen, and we're going to make this 12 by 27, and we'll click on OK. And we want to do the same thing that we just did to the face. We want to round off all the corners. So again, by selecting it with the black arrow, you get your corner controls up. And you're going to drag these corner controls to the center, and now you have rounded top and bottom to this rectangle. And you can move that into the center. We need to create some eyes. So we're going to take the ellipse tool, click on the screen, and these are going to be 12 by 12. All right, move that in. You can hold your Alt key down and make a copy, or Option key if you're on a Mac, and make a copy. We need some pupils, so we'll just make some little dots. So we'll just click on the screen again. This time we'll make these about 4 by 4 and click on OK. But we want these to be solid, filled with black and no outline. So the easiest way to do that is to go to your toolbar, and at the bottom where your fill and stroke are, you can swap the fill and stroke. So now you have a black fill with a white stroke, and now we want to get rid of the stroke, so we're going to click on this red slash here, or make it none. And now we have our pupil. I'm going to move that here, hold Alt or Option down, and make a copy to the right hand side. All right, pretty easy going so far. Now what we want to do is we want to make a mouth, and we want to make that a semicircle. So for this, we're going to turn on Snap to Grid temporarily. So we're going to go to the View menu and click on Snap to Grid. And what this does is as you draw, it snaps into all these grid intersections. So we're going to use that so we can make a semicircle. So we're going to take the ellipse tool, click on the screen. We want to make a 36 by 36 circle. That's a 1/2 inch by 1/2 inch. Then we're going to take the rectangle tool, and we're going to draw a rectangle that covers just the top half of that circle. Right? And so you can see why we're in Snap to Grid, so we can exactly line that up with the center. I'm going to select both, and in my Pathfinder panel, I'm going to click on minus front. And what that's going to do is subtract the top piece from the bottom. Now I want to add a little extra feature to this. I want to give him some teeth. I'm going to do similar steps that I did before, except for using divide. But for this, we need to uncheck Snap to Grid. We're going to take another rectangle, and you're just going to slightly overlay it on top of the circle, the semicircle that you have. Right? So you can see there's just going to be this thin band where the two overlap. I'm going to select both shapes. I'm going to click on Divide. Remember, Divide groups everything together, so I have to go to the Object menu and Ungroup. And now I'm going to delete the top piece. Now I want to give the mouth some color. I want to give everything some color. So I'm going to start off with the mouth. I'm going to make the bottom part, the fill color. I want that to be something like this pink. And the teeth, of course, I want them to be white. Now I can't see them right now, but we will in a moment. Now for our avatar, I'm going to make his face a color. I'm going to give it this kind of orangey color here. And I don't want there to be a stroke, so I want to make the stroke none. I want to give his hair no stroke, but also a fill color of, let's say, brown. Make it the dark brown. His nose, I also want that to be orange, but a slightly darker orange, so it stands out. So I'm going to click on this orange in my swatches panel, and again, no stroke. And for the eyes, I want them to not have a stroke as well. And now when I take my mouth and I move it on top of the avatar, I can now see the teeth. And if I want to give this kind of a little flair to it, I can rotate it slightly as if he's happy or he's talking or something like that. All right, I want to make some ears for our avatar. So what I'm going to do is start off with some circles. I'm going to take, let's see, I'm going to type D on my keyboard just to get to my default colors. Click on my ellipse tool. And I'm going to click on the screen. I'm going to make these actually larger than they need to be, and then I'm going to scale them down. So I'm going to click on the screen and make this 36 by 36, and click on the screen again and make one that's 18 by 18. And what I want to do is I want to take my align tool or align panel and align the centers horizontally and align the centers vertically. And I then want to scale this down so it's a quarter of the size. So I'm going to select both circles. I'm going to go double click the scale tool. If you can't find it, it's usually connected with your other transformations. Double click on that. I'm going to make that 50%. Click on OK. The outer circle is going to be the color of the face, and the inner circle will be the color of the nose. And then what I want to do is select both and group them together, just so they move as one. So Object Menu and Group. Now I'm going to take this grouped circle and I'm going to move it over here to just a little bit below the eyes on the left-hand side. And you can see that it's on top of the face, and that's not exactly where we want it, but we can use some simple arranging tools to get that into the right place. But let's make a copy of this, and we'll do both at the same time. So hold Alt or Option down, drag a copy to the right, and now we'll do some rearrangement. We're going to select the two ears as well as the hair. So I'm holding my Shift key down to do that, and going to the Object menu, Arrange, and Send to Back. And so now it appears as if the ears are behind the hair. I'm just going to move this down a little bit lower. All right, a couple more things. I want to make the neck, and I want to make the shirt, and then I'll make some eyebrows. So I'm going to go to the rectangle tool. Again, I'm going to just click on the screen. I want my neck to be 18 wide by 36 high. And click on OK. I'm going to do the same rounding off that I did before. So I'm going to click on the circles and drag them to the center until they turn, the tops and bottoms turn red. And then I'm going to drag this so it's directly below the chin. Half of it is hidden, more or less. Object menu, Arrange, Send to Back. I'm going to draw the body. So for this, I'm going to create a rectangle that's 127 pixels wide by 90 pixels high, and I'm going to click on OK. Now I want to round off these corners, but I don't want to round them off all the way. So I can just click on the corner control, and I'm going to drag this in until it reads about 18 or so pixels. It doesn't have to be super precise, but 18 is good for our purposes. I'm going to take the rectangle tool again, and I'm going to draw a rectangle over top of the bottom half of our rounded off rectangle. Select both and go to my Pathfinder panel and minus the front. I'm going to give this a color for the shirt, make that a blue. Move this underneath the neck, kind of overlapping it a little bit. Object, Arrange, and Send to Back. So now I have a neck and a body and a head. The last thing I want to do is I'm going to make some eyebrows, and for this I'm going to use the line segment tool, usually associated with all your shape tools. And I'm going to just go over here and draw a line segment that I'm just going to have it pointing up more or less in the same angle as the mouth. I want to change the stroke color to the same color as the hair, which was this dark brown. And I want to change the stroke width to about 3 points. And if I reveal the stroke panel, which I can do from my properties, or I can go to the window menu and click on, I can click on stroke. Try that again. Click on stroke, go to my show options, and I want the ends to be round. All right, so that's one eyebrow. Select it, hold my Alt or Option key down, and make another eyebrow. And now we have an avatar. All right, so I hope you've enjoyed this. I have another tutorial where we make another variation of this, so stay tuned. All right, thanks. Bye-bye.